Hey there, welcome. I'm Charlotte Smith with the Profitable Farm Facebook group. And today I'm very excited to be in here talking with you because lately it's been all about my new book, which is just a really crazy idea I maybe thought of here and there, but really never considered that it might even be reality till now. So this has just been really exciting. And we have a lot of people who have joined our launch team already. And so I'm going to talk a bit about that today. But if you would like to help me launch this book on June 13th for the next 3 weeks, we have a private Facebook group where I'm going to be going over what it took for me to write this book and some of the specifics and how-tos. And then you get the opportunity to help me spread the word, and you get a free copy of the book in advance. You get to see what it's like to write and then launch your own book, because I know a lot of you have said you have books inside of you want to write. And you might even see that it's easier than you once thought. So if you want to join my launch team, please do. We've got a really good group of people going already, and Hayden is going to put the link in here. You just click on it and join it. And it's it's a pop-up Facebook group. So once the book is launched and published on June 13th, we'll wrap up about a week and it'll be gone. So this is just kind of a fun party for about a month, and I would love to have you join me there. But anyway, I wanted to share some other specific things with you today about the book or the writing process, because once I started talking about my book and the launch team in this group about a week ago, I had so many of you that said that a lot of you have written books already, and a lot of you have books that you've thought of writing, but you were scared. And some of you even have written books, but you're scared to self-publish. So I want to be here hopefully to encourage you that it's way easier than I thought. It's not easy. Maybe the word is simpler. It's kind of a simple process. It's not easy. It takes a ton of work, but it is pretty simple and anyone can do it. And I've just realized how many of you want to do that. So if you write a book, I'll be on your launch team too. How fun would that be? And maybe we can be book writing buddies. You know, you can have an accountability partner as we go through this and get your own book launched as well. So I made some notes because I want to be sure and cover a lot of things in this. One of the things is there was a study done that shows that 84% of people who were asked said they want to write a book someday. So I figure, 84% of you want to write a book, and that's kind of what I've seen in the comments. So something to keep in mind, self-publishing used to be, something that was less than being picked up by a publisher. But the way things change so much these days, information changes so quickly that by the time your book is published by a publisher, it's often been written 12 to 18 months ahead of time, and some of that information is outdated. And self-publishing does not lose you credibility. And what I'm talking about is publishing on Kindle. That's where I'm going to publish my book, on Amazon Kindle. And that does not lose me credibility. And also, I'm finishing writing the book right now, and it's going to be up within a month. So that information will be really relevant right now in today's world, which is just really exciting. No, I'm giving up-to-date information. And if something changes, I can do a second edition and re-release that. All right. So don't think that self-publishing is any less than a regular publisher, and it could get picked up by a regular publisher too, but if it doesn't, I'm okay with that as well. One of the reasons I really wanted to write a book, though, is I got started speaking at events years ago. Just at the very start, they were teeny tiny events at our public library where I was asked to talk about farm fresh milk, because 8 years ago, people were just starting to hear about it. And what I realized is every time I showed up in public, even though I was really, really incredibly nervous and didn't think I did a very good job at all, and I'm sure I didn't, I got lots of customers off that. So I would speak, 5-10 miles away from home, and then I would have a whole slew of new customers. So it was a great way for me to build my farm. And I know speaking is terrifying, and when you start out, you're not that good, but the only way to get better is practice. So I did get better over time. And then I was asked to speak at larger and larger conferences around town, still around here, and I was still getting customers off of it. But I realized that if I had a book, and even a Kindle book, I would get a better speaking slot. I would get a better time at the conference where there were more people Maybe I'd get a bigger conference room then, so I'd reach even more people, which meant more customers to our farm, which was just more bang for my buck. You know, if I'm going to be out away from the farm for a whole day speaking, I'd love it to result in 30 new customers instead of 10. And if I had a Kindle book, that would really help me. So I knew a few years ago I had to write a book. And then it's finally just now taking shape. But I'm really excited to see how that changes my speaking opportunities too, which I need to do to continue building our farm. So really excited about that. All right. And then if you were thinking at all that, you know, who are you to write about, you know, your farm or whatever, because there's so many farmers out. Well, you have we each have our own individual perspective. And one thing I know, even from this private Facebook group, is all of us in here are doing things a little differently and some different beliefs, and we have different stories. We're in different parts of the country, and we love hearing each other's stories. So don't think that what you have to say has been said before, because you will put a different spin on it, and it would be fun to read it on a Kindle book. And here I am, I'm like trying to sell you on writing a Kindle book, but that's kind of how it feels. But really, it's done so much for my business already, and it's not even published yet, that I want you to have the same experience, and I want to give you the confidence that you can do it. It's also super easy to publish on Kindle. It's like you just load the book in this software and you click publish, and then it shows up in there. And canva.com, if you go there, they have for free, they have book cover templates. And also you guys are going to choose, well, you're going to help choose my book cover. So if you're in the launch team, if you sign up for the launch team, and I'd love to have all of you in there who want to help launch the book, we're going to put my cover ideas in there that we have so far that actually Hayden's created, and let you guys vote on them. But know that you can create your own book cover for free. The thing I have, and writing the book was free. So this whole process was free for me, and it's going to result in a lot more business for me, for our farm. But the one thing I spent money on that I highly recommend is an editor, a real book editor, you know, not just having a friend or a teacher, English teacher, or someone read it, but my real book editor that I paid money for. Oh my gosh, she's taking my book from good to either better or great. I don't want to say it's a great book, because that sounds weird. Hey, I wrote this great book, but it's good, and she's making it better. And so I highly recommend this whole editing process. I've learned to become a better writer. So that's been really good. The other really important thing I learned is sometimes you think of writing a book and you think, oh, that's so overwhelming to sit down and write, you know, for hours and hours. But you probably have a book partly written already if you're doing blog posts on your farm, like I teach in our courses and like I recommend. That's what I did, is I kind of went back over in my last 2 years of marketing blog posts. I pulled together different blog posts for the book. That was kind of the frame. Probably 50% of my book was already written. And then what I'm doing is I'm filling in those gaps. So you probably have a book already written. And the other thing I found out in my research is it's better to publish smaller books more frequently than one big book. So if you're thinking it's too overwhelming to write a big 200-page book, well, it's better not to. It's better to, my book is only, right now it's about 15,000 words. You can do an 8,000 to 10,000 word book is easy. If you're doing 1,000-word blog posts, which is really easy to do, that's 8 blog posts and you have your book written. And then, because every time you launch your book, you get more business, you will have, if you do smaller books and you publish them more often, you will get that activity and that group of new customers launching each and every book. So I love that idea of smaller books. It's smaller bite to chew, or smaller piece to bite off for me. So it's been easier to write a 15,000 word book than thinking it had to be 100,000 words. And there's also studies that show that books that are 100 pages or less get read 70% of the way through. If they're 150 pages, that drops to like 50% of the way through. And if they're over 200 pages, it's like 30% of the book gets read. And if I'm doing all this work to publish a book, I want someone to read it, because I can't help them to the extent that I'm hoping to help them if they don't finish the book. So I'd rather have a small book and get 70 to 80% of the way through, most people read 70 to 80% of it, than a big book that only 30% of the people read. So for all these reasons, I just thought this is a no-brainer. I need to get this book finished because I started it about a year ago. I think I pulled like 2 chapters together. And then in the last couple months, I've focused on pulling the rest of it together. And like I said, it's going to be launched on June 13th. We have a group of, 75 people in that. It's called Farm Marketing from the Heart book launch. Hayden put the link there. I'd love to have you join me over there. It's going to be fun for about a month, and then it's going to go away. You're going to get a free copy of the book in advance, and we're going to talk about some behind-the-scenes stuff of launching the book. We're going to discuss it. You're going to be asked to give it an honest rating on Kindle. Not all 5 stars, I've been told. You can't just want 5 stars. They have to be honest. So things like that. But anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. If you have a book idea, would love to let you know, or let me know that too, because I've been loving hearing those people who have reached out already. And then let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to get to on my notes. So I think that's it. I just want to say, the other thing is, we've had a lot of newspapers out to our farm, and I was on the front cover of one newspaper and probably 6 years ago, or 5 years ago, and people still say, "Oh, I remember when you were on the cover of the newspaper." I still get new customers from that. So when you have a book, local media loves to hear that a local person published a book on Kindle. Doesn't matter what you're on. They will interview you. They'll come out to your farm if you have a farm, or you can go into the studio. This all brings customers. I can't believe the number of customers we've gotten from media, and having a book published gives you a reason to reach out to the media and ask for that. So it's just endless marketing opportunities for your farm when you have a book, because otherwise it's hard to just call the newspaper and say, "Hey, will you come out and put me on the cover of your newspaper?" But if you have a book, wow, they are so excited to do that, because with all the online information these days, when you give local media a reason to come out from your farm and cover a story, they really love it. So how quick could you get a 7,500-page book that you probably already have written up on Kindle and get some wonderful exposure for your farm? So anyway, that's it for today. Join me in the book launch team if you want to, Farm Marketing from the Heart book launch, and you'll get a free copy of the book. And we will the party will continue going on over there. All right, thanks everyone, and I'll talk to you right here in this group. We're in here all the time. It's fun to see all the exchanges and information and help that's going on in here. All right, take care.